Hey, yo, and welcome to episode 26 of the AWO Journeymen, final round of the home and away season. I'm your host, Nate McFooty. Strongly dislikes the country of Finland. Don't ask me why. I'm just playing around with the subheadings for StreamYard. Joining me is Maceman the Spaceman, dead rubber with victory for the Fremantle Dockers, but he's a happy boy. He's filled with caffeine and rage for Ross Lyon. Maso, how you doing?
You know, I'm struggling to stay awake, but we'll get through this, and I will say some stupid stuff. So let's get into it.
Just like High School Musical, we're all in this together. I've got another background ready. John, he's got the link. He's currently at Carlton v GWS, Marvel Stadium. A dead rubber for Carlton, but big ramifications for the top 8 with GWS needing to win to make finals. Otherwise, the Western Bulldogs, for the second year in a row, are relying on a Carlton result to get in the finals. But we'll get to those results a little bit later. Let's get into the final round of the home and away season. Let's talk some footy. And we start off with one side, really, and it was Collingwood Friday night, winning by 70 points because Essendon didn't show up at all. Maso, what did you think about Collingwood's training session Friday night?
I mean, yeah, Essendon is just taking the piss at this point. I hear the excuse of tired legs going around, young team, all this and that, and it's just this is not good enough. Like, once again, those poor fans were just absolutely gobsmacked. They did not they expected some fight back against from the previous week, especially against you guys. And it was just nothing. It was just cones. Bunch of cones out there.
I'm sure we would have enjoyed a bit of cones Friday night, but I expected more from Essendon. But you get smashed by 21 goals against the Giants. You're playing Collingwood. Yeah. You may not make finals, but knock them off their perch a bit. But it's Collingwood by 70 points. They secure the minor premiership. I do agree with Brad Scott on one thing. The season is too long. Now, I'm always an advocate for the season ending at the end of the home and away season. Forget finals, forget September footy. I think the season should end right now. So Collingwood are unofficially my premiers of 2023.
I'm sorry, Nate, this isn't the EPL.
I wish it was like that in terms of the final day where every match goes on at the same time, just to create so much fucking chaos with the ladder as well. I think the competition we've got allows for it. I mean, we're seeing Carlton v GWS where we don't even know who the top 8 is. So I think it can work in the AFL, but obviously with 9 games, you need 9 different broadcasters, 9 different venues as well. So that's the chaos that it will bring to the AFL. I guess my question, though, we'll stay on Essendon for a bit because there's not much really to go over for Collingwood. All this match is on Essendon. Don't need to go in depth. We'll touch on Essendon later in the season. But do you think there's any improvements that Essendon have made this season compared to last season?
Yes. Earlier on, like a lot of the teams have done, they've changed things up of the way that they transition. Earlier on the season, Essendon tackled a lot more. They were aggressive. They would bring it to you, and they were able to put on goals really quickly. So yeah, they've fallen away, but they have massively improved in my eyes. From last year.
I'm the same. Given the recency bias in the past month, it can sway people's opinions, but I'm looking at it from a broader perspective the whole season, and I've seen improvements, and I'll touch on that, I guess, later in the season. I think there's more positives over negatives, but the small negatives are big ones, though, that can overshadow these positives. Little things like Parrish not being signed on, the youngsters getting injured, certain losses, and obviously the last month of footy as well. But their off-season is going to be pretty important and how they bounce back, if they can get back into September footy. I guess another question, though, do you think there's any improvements by Brad Scott as a coach?
I don't know. Like, for me, that one is too long ago to compare. Yeah. I can't really comment on that one.
For Essendon, I said this was their transition year for them, and I had them in that 9 to 12 range. So I feel spot on. I feel a little bit vindicated, given how they've ended the season and given where they've finished up. And I think you said at the start of the season, you don't know what you expect from Essendon. You tip them to win, they lose. You don't tip them, they win. I think they've been the opposite of that. When I tip them to win, they win. When I don't tip them, they don't win. So they're a much better side to predict. They're a bit of a barometer side now. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the off-season and what the changes they do and how they will look to improve for 2024.
I'm expecting a lot of in and outs. Like not a lot. A lot would be a stretch. A couple in and outs, which I reckon they need. They need to replace Wiedemann.
Already.
He's just shit. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair enough. 7 games without a goal up until this game, yeah.
No, he's just shit. He's just not good enough. And as much as a meme it was Peter Wright moving to Essendon, he has just he's been massive. He's blown expectations out of the water, I reckon. To be honest, I was one of the haters. I didn't expect anything. So give him a second toll. I reckon they can do some real damage because they've needed to rely on him too much in terms of goals. And oppositions know that if he can't get a run at the ball, he's fucking useless. So, which he will improve. He's still young, even though he looks 35. I think he's still pretty young. So he will improve his game, and he's been massive for them. With a preseason as well behind him because he had an interrupted one after signing on.
Yeah, signed the contract and did the shoulder straight after.
Unfortunately, but yeah. All right, I'm waffling.
That's fine.
We'll move on.
We'll move on to Saturday night footy. Saturday afternoon footy, a couple of dead rubbers. We'll start off with your team, Freo. Hawthorn v Freo. It was Freo by 37 points. And as you pointed out in the group chat, I think it was 6 wins in a row for Freo over Hawthorn now.
About the same average.
You fucking own Hawthorn now. And it's not just at the MCG, it's York Park or Tasmania and also home games as well. So you're beating them in every state possible. So good on you.
As a twat said once upon a time, any place, any time.
That's it.
No, that's not it. I just want to have a cup of coffee. Sorry, I'm still waking up here. No, like it was a nothing game. It was pretty much what I expected. I don't know what it is, but we're like the kryptonite over the last few years. I wish this was the kind of game that happened in the 2013 year, but unfortunately not. Yeah, it was nothing. The boys putting some form together. Tom Emmett is he's amazing pickup. He's been great.
What a boy.
Yeah, nothing really much to say about this. Brayshaw and Jackson's cool little handshake after the game. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it was two scrubby teams at the bottom who've had up and down years play an average game at best.
But Freo, way better compared to Hawthorn here. Jai Amos, 3 goals, ends up with 40 for the season. He's got to be up there in rising star contention. You don't expect him to win it, but he deserves more recognition. And thank God we've got a Freo fan and people in WA giving respect to Amos, and it's coming over to Victoria as well. Long shot of winning, of course, compared to Sheasel. Tom Emmett kicking 2 goals in his second game. Good backstory as well for him, mature age pickup. Eligible to be nominated for the boys club, but I've got it this week and I can confirm it's not going to be him, unfortunately. But respect to him as well for his performance. And Brayshaw and Sarong combining for 65 disposals, 13 tackles, 12 clearances, 900 metres gained, and a couple of goals as well between them. Finn didn't tag anyone. So if he tried, it was weird.
Yeah, sorry to cut in there. I forgot about him completely. Sorry, Finn. He started tagging Luke Ryan in the first quarter for whatever reason. And then in the second quarter moved to Sarong and kept him to a little for... And then I think he moved on to a different player. It's like they weren't sure who to stick with to stop the damage. But yeah, it was weird because usually he just goes to His target just absolutely shuts him down, but they bounced him around a lot. Yeah, very odd.
Yeah, slightly disappointing end to the season for Hawthorn, given the run of form they had heading to this game. I think it was 8 wins under the belt for 2023. I'm going to double check this one. I don't want to be wrong. Sorry, I stand corrected. 7 wins for the season. I had them winning 6 games. I did have a win in the wooden spoon after round 1, so they've exceeded my expectations, and I'll go in depth on Hawthorn later this season once we do our little exit interviews at some point. Freo, they end the season with 10 wins. 14th spot, though. Fortunately, you don't have the first-round draft pick. You've given that to Melbourne, so it's going to be interesting to see what Freo do in the off-season with their list management and player changes. But yeah, that's one. But you got a good core of youngsters as well, so if you stick together, I think the depth will rise up again, and you'll be back in the finals in no time.
Hopefully, like that's it. That we want to keep this young list growing together. We want to see as little as exits as possible. Liam Henry's gone. I reckon.
Yep.
I reckon he's gone. I reckon Jeremy Sharp will replace him. So it's unfortunate, but yeah. But like as I said, young list, keep them together. They're growing. They're looking better as the years go by. Johnson has been a standout, I think, for the youngsters this year, outside of Amos. Once he puts even a little bit more size on, he's going to be an absolute monster. Young to the midfield's been amazing experiment. Yeah, enough on my boys. I could talk about them forever.
All right, we'll move on to 2 teams beneath you on the ladder. It's North Melbourne v Gold Coast, Saturday afternoon in Tasmania. And North Melbourne, fuck their own tank. They snap a 20-game losing streak, though. They win by 35 points. But was this a game really needed to win? Or
yeah, I don't like. Was this like a pride thing? I honestly, I've been trying to get my head wrapped around it. Why? Why would you? Like, I don't. What is the positives? Like culture? Like what? I don't get it.
I can't believe we're ripping on a team winning. But firstly, yes, 20-game losing streak's over. Good for them. Nick Larkey kicking 9 goals to end the season on 71 goals for the season.
Wow.
He's in my rolling All-Australian squad or final All-Australian squad. You can't keep a guy out who's kicked 70-plus goals in a season, regardless of where they're playing and also where they finish up. But North Melbourne finished the season in 17th spot. Pick 2 in the national draft. They've got Port Adelaide's first-round draft pick as well. Ben Mackay most likely going to leave, so the compensation for that as well. And they're looking to get early access or priority access to Riley Sanders, an academy player in Tasmania. I think just it's more because of the Indigenous connection as well. And he's expected to be a top 10 pick as well. So they're aiming for 4 first-round draft picks as well, North Melbourne. Oh, yeah, Alistair Clarkson whinging in the media during the week about Gold Coast and how they've got access to their own academy players. But the credit goes to Gold Coast. They've traded future picks for this already, so they're prepared to get those 3 players, and they're going to expect more draft picks to come in as well. They're going to trade out a few players as well to get those players, unless they announce they won't get those players. But again, Gold Coast have set themselves up. So I think Al Clarkson, I'm not buying what he's selling in terms of what he's complaining about. And Gold Coast end the season with 9 wins. They remain winless in Tasmania. Hardwick Hardwick coming in and will be Gold Coast's new coach in 2024, saying they've got a premiership list. It's 80% complete. They just need to get the remaining 20%. I'm not so boyish on that claim for Gold Coast. I'm looking forward to see what they do with their draft picks. I hope they don't fuck it up again this next season with the salary cap issues and whatnot. But they've got a good leadership group and they've got a good coach coming in as well. So looking forward to what they do for 2024. But as far as this game goes, yeah, it's a nothing game. North winning a game they probably didn't need to, but Clarkson was pretty good post-match defending it, saying that number 1 draft picks in the past 20-odd years don't win premierships or very rarely see that happen. So let's see how that holds up in a few years' time, that little comment.
That is such an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. That Hardwick comment though, man. I bet Atkins threw his phone in the ocean after he heard that comment.
the 80% one.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Saturday twilights. Brisbane, coached by Chris Fagan, against St Kilda, coached by Ross Lyon, who is not a premiership coach, who Maso absolutely. I had to throw that in there.
I was wondering, it's like, why are you naming the fucking coach?
Just to piss you off. But it was Brisbane by 12 points at the Gabatoir, 9-18-72. Very inaccurate. They could have won by a lot more. They dominated St Kilda, inside 50 entries, clearances as well. Just the inaccuracy, keeping St Kilda in it. Almost cost them in the third quarter, but Brisbane were able to bounce back. Joe Danaher with the miss of the year. I think our grandmas could have kicked that goal, and my grandma's dead, and yours is barely.
Yeah, she can barely walk.
Yeah, she can barely walk. So, but I'm pretty sure they could have kicked that goal pretty easily. But Brisbane, in an intriguing game in terms of where the finals and where these teams were going to finish up, St Kilda needed to win to cement top 6. Otherwise, they would have relied on Sydney or how they would have performed on Sunday, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But Brisbane winning here, they will finish second spot. They've secured a home final against Port Adelaide, which we'll again touch on a little bit later. But Brisbane, going off last week's game against Collingwood, a massive win there meant that Brisbane could gabba gabba their way to a grand final. I had to throw that in there, Maso. You'll be angry at me now, not Ross Lyon. But Brisbane, 1 win at the Gabba. They need 2 more to make the grand final. But their record at the Gabba since the start of 2019, 49 wins and 8 losses. It's more of a fortress there compared to Geelong at Gardenia Park now. But if you don't include finals for Brisbane at the Gabba, it's 47-4. So they've got a bit of a hiccup at the Gabba come finals from time to time. So I'm looking forward to see what they do to overcome that. They're on the right track to make the grand final, though.
Yeah, that's the thing with Saints again as well, is they've come into the finals battered and bruised.
They have, yeah.
Which is, they've done amazing. They've proved me wrong. Each week I was hoping for them to fail. And each week they prove me wrong. But I do not think they'll go far. But once again, who knows? Prove me wrong.
Who knows? Ross Lyon, anything can happen with Ross Lyon and any side he coaches. So it's not pissing you off.
I'm not biting. No, not biting. No.
Not budging.
No.
All right, Saturday night footy. Goomba Stadium, Geelong v the Dogs, and the Dogs keeping their season alive. 25-point winners over Geelong. Their first win at Goomba since 2003. It's Geelong's third loss at Goomba this season. Big final quarter by the Dogs, and they needed it as well because Geelong had the majority of the lead heading into the final quarter. 52% of possession in that final quarter for the Dogs compared to Geelong's 27%. So they needed that control and they needed to execute. And they did that in that final quarter to keep their season alive. Norton and Lobb kicking 3 goals. Rory Lobb, whether you like it or not, is putting together a solid month.
I think I fell asleep. I missed that.
It was a scrappy first half, though. It was something that could have made me fall asleep as well. But a very interesting final quarter. And also just seeing how Geelong would perform, given that they've got a few retirees in Isaac Smith. John Segler didn't play, though, but there was also Sam Menegola, who was announced that he's not retiring, but former Freo player, mind you, as well, not being offered a new contract. So he's pretty much delisted.
Oof.
31 years of age, but he gets the footy. It's just he doesn't use it well in the past couple of seasons. So bit heartache or heartbreaking for him. He wasn't in Geelong's best 22 for the premiership last year. So he's been battling the past couple of seasons. But Isaac's...
Oh, well, sorry, cut you in there. Menengola's missed out 3 occasions.
Yeah, apparently. And the Hawthorn. Yeah, Hawthorn and Geelong.
And us. When we were contending. Yeah.
Shit. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. Oh, Menegola, not Menengola.
He might, there's a rumour, he might be going back to WA, but I doubt it. He's probably settled in with family in Victoria by now. So
yeah, if he wants one more year, he can look for it. I don't think he's going to get picked up, unfortunately.
Sadly.
Isaac Smith, final game, 36 disposals, may finish his career with 3 Brownlow votes, which could impact the Brownlow race. Bontempelli had a decent performance, but there were a few others as well. Treloar, Liberatore. It's going to be interesting to see what the Brownlow votes are going to be like in this game, which could dictate who wins the Brownlow medal. But as of we're recording this Sunday nights, it's quarter time, Carlton v GWS. But again, the Dogs winning this game, keep their season alive. Speaking of teams keeping their season alive, the Adelaide Crows getting a win against the West Coast Eagles. Oh, wait, they lost last week. Never mind. It was a dead rubber. Sorry.
Were robbed.
Right in front of me. But it did feel like a game where Adelaide were ready to burst open this game and just dominate, and they did that in the final quarter. I think John will touch on this a little bit later, but Jeremy McGovern, very good performance last week against the Dogs, and then just, I don't know what he was doing against Tex, just letting him roam free, letting Adelaide kick goals or get scores at will. Good little moments to see pre-game. Nick Nat in the huddle before they started. Luke Sherry, Shannon Hearn running it as well. Shuey kicking a goal in that first quarter, getting the crowd pumped. But the Crows, plus 26 inside 50s, they were dominating. They were very attacking. They just needed to win away from Victoria, they needed to win away from home, and they did that. Second time this season, but unfortunately too little too late.
This was a surprisingly good game. I expected a whitewash. The West Coast really went out on their sword.
No, they did. They did. They took their chances.
No, sorry, I was looking at you as you were drinking your water.
Let me try again.
Oh god, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, yeah. I was cheering for West Coast at points of the game. I wanted to see them.
What are you doing?
I was like, it'd be really good to see them send off these players in a win, and it would be really funny to see the meltdowns on Reddit from the West Coast fans losing the first pick. But at the end, when I fell asleep, is when West Coast fell asleep and Adelaide took over. I don't know. I missed it because I was asleep, but they ended up kicking away. I don't know. Can you cover in the blanks there? What happened in the last quarter?
No, that was it. It was just a matter of what Adelaide could do to get Tex to 10 goals. They were trying to give it to him most of the time. It was just a feast in the final quarter, the Hungry Jacks Cup, pretty much, and Adelaide just dominated. But for West Coast, and they highlighted this in the round so far, West Coast 18th in contested possessions, 18th in marks inside 50, 18th in inside 50s in general, 18th in points for, and 18th in points against. So with those stats and those metrics, and then a pretty wide discrepancy compared to North Melbourne and other teams, statistically, they are the worst team this season. And honestly, they deserve the wooden spoon, given North Melbourne winning and, whether these wins were meaningful or not, or if they needed to. West Coast finishing as a wooden spoon is deservedly, in my opinion.
I think second, third time in history.
I think so. I know they won it in 2010. I think they won one? I don't think they won a wooden spoon in the 2000s under Ken Judge.
I think they have more than us.
No, I think you've got 3 or 4.
That's going to take me too long.
No. West Coast have 2 wooden spoons. Freo, just the one.
Hey, very nice.
Yeah, but it goes along with West Coast 4 premierships compared to Freo's 0.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Back down to earth.
But the big question for what West Coast do with their pick 1, do they split it or do they go all in on Harley Reid?
Oh, come on. You got to go Harley Reid. Fuck this noise. Nah. Fuck the noise of him wanting to leave. That is bullshit. Fake news.
Well, given my experience in WA, I wouldn't mind going back to WA. So I don't know what Harley Reid would complain about. I think you'll enjoy it in Western Australia.
Oh no, I get to be treated like God. Oh no. Oh, and look at all my dollars. Oh no.
I get to be praised in West Australia. No.
I can pretty much drink, drive, and not get in trouble, and the media will still love me. Oh no!
I get to have a cocaine problem. Oh.
And then I get a job in Channel 7. Oh no!
Hey, that's a good redemption story for Ben. Unless he's doing something we don't know. No, he's hiding it pretty well.
Yeah, whatever. He's doing good. I'll leave him alone.
No, he's there next. Chris Judd is Harley Reid, but we'll wait and see what West Coast do with their pick 1.
Is he that good?
Yeah, I reckon he's that damn good. Like they were saying, if he was eligible last season under Will Ashcroft and others like Sheasel and a few others, he would have been going pick 1 or up there as well.
Shit. Because, like, what is he? Like, who would you compare him to?
Oh, wow. In terms of his potential.
Potential and play style.
Like, he's a similar mid-forward type. Like, he'll kick goals similar to what a Dustin Martin would do, an Isaac Heaney, Christian Petrarca, DeGoey, Toby Green. But probably a mixture of Dusty and Christian Petrarca put together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is dangerous. Of course, the fucking time that they get the wooden spoon would be when the generational talent is there.
Maybe I'll go a little bit better. Maybe peak Dusty, peak Nat 5, peak Dane. Like he's explosive as well. So
fucking hell, that's scary.
He's got everything. He's playing VFL footy and he's being best on ground there as well. So
yeah, that's bullshit. All right, yeah, they're definitely picking him. I would. Yeah,
Good win by Adelaide. Consolation. I had them 9-12 in my season predictions, and they're finishing up there as well. I think next season's they push the finals. There's no excuse for 2024.
Yeah, sorry, I literally zoned out for a second there. Sorry, the lights are on, but nobody was home. Adelaide has been well, yeah, they got robbed. They had a great season. Yes, they've been super professional and said, "Oh, we should have won more games," and blah blah blah. We let it slip. No, you should be playing finals. You had an amazing year. I backed you all year. I was right. Everybody else can get fucked. You were robbed.
We'll take that to our graves. Good win by Adelaide, South Australian side. Speaking of, we'll go into another South Australian side. Port Adelaide over Richmond, early Sunday arvo. Maso's nearly out like a light, so we've got to turn the power on. So Port Adelaide by 31 points over Richmond. This was a scrappy, inaccurate contest for 3.5 quarters, but Port Adelaide were able to kick away. Frankie Evans kicking 3 goals, Rosie and Butters doing their thing, and it means Port Adelaide cement 3rd spot on the AFL ladder. They'll take on Brisbane first week of finals at the Gabba. Good little season by Port Adelaide. As for Richmond, bit of a dour end to their season. They've lost their coach, or Damien Hardwick leaving for Andrew McQualter to be the caretaker coach. Results-wise, doesn't favour Andrew McQualter if he wants to roll permanently or in 2024 and beyond. And Richmond having a few retirees in Koch and Rewalt, Robbie Tarrant and Castagna before the season started. So quite a bit of list changes needed at Richmond, and they're probably going to spend the next couple of seasons outside the 8s. But
I wonder if players that are around their prime are going to ask to leave. Bolton possibly, who knows? Because it looks like they've got a little bit of a rebuild here, and yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take. They've got a good mixture of talent, so they can bounce back. It is possible, but it just depends on draft and the right kids and them maturing quickly enough. Port's looked shaky over the last month.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. I was, all on board them going further into finals this year, but it's starting to feel like the creepy out and straight sets is starting to come by again.
Maso's putting the curse on Port Adelaide. It could happen.
Feeling it. It's in the air. I can feel it.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, I would have hoped that they would have come out and just absolutely tore tore them Richmond to shreds to get into some sort of form coming into finals, but still looks like they're sorting something out. I don't follow Port very closely, but from a distance. So yeah, I don't know as much as a Port fan may. So,
which means you know more about Port Adelaide compared to Port Adelaide fans.
Savage. But yeah,
half a pair in the head.
I don't know. What do you reckon, though? I reckon they look shaky, and I think the fact of straight sets may be settling into their minds.
Not in their minds, but it's possible they would get knocked down in straight sets. Brisbane, Port Adelaide, that's an interesting one. That's a big one. Whoever wins that's going to host a home prelim. You need that. But Port's got the pressure as well of trying to make a grand final. They've re-signed Hinkley for another 2 seasons. They're re-signing a few other players as well, so they've got their list set up for it. But I don't think it's their year. I think a few more seasons to develop, and maybe not develop, but become stronger, become better, become bigger as well, more powerful. Because they've won a lot of close ones. They've been very scrappy. They know how to win, but they need to take that next step as well and start dominating certain matchups. But they'll get to that point next season. Who knows what they do in finals? But I'm predicting either a prelim exit away from home or straight sets, unfortunately.
So what, you're saying that they're like you guys from a couple of years ago?
I reckon they are, yeah. So Port Adelaide winning means they cemented 3rd spot, which meant Melbourne, win or lose, they were going to stay in 4th spot. But going into Sunday afternoon's game between Sydney and Melbourne, Sydney, they needed a win to cement a home final or a home elimination final. But unfortunately, it was Melbourne who won by, I think it was 21 points. Bailey Fritsch with 5 goals. That means Melbourne go into September. They take on Collingwood, week 1 of finals with good form behind their back. But again, Bailey Fritsch with 5 goals. Had a foot concern, but he came back on. Melksham with 2 goals. He looked a bit lively, but then he did his knee innocuously. Similar to Josh Bruce. We hope that's nothing too serious. We hope it doesn't keep him out for September. He's been in pretty good form, Jake Melksham. But it was just Melbourne too good in the final quarter. There were times in the 3rd quarter I thought, they're not putting much effort in. And I thought they're probably resting up to focus on Collingwood, but they were able to turn it around. It was supposed to be a significant game for Sydney, given that we're trying to make a home final. But with Buddy Franklin, Paddy McCartan, Tom Hickey played in this game as well, a few retirees. It was unfortunately for Sydney their final game at home, so they're going to have to win the premiership on the road.
Most of this weekend's games have just been pretty meh, unfortunately. But
yeah, for a final game or final round of the season, yeah, meh. Petrarca had a decent game. Who knows what he gets in the Brownlow votes? Who knows how it's going to impact Brownlow night as well? Maybe I'm a bit biased bringing this up because I do want to see my boy Nick Dacos win it, but we're going to have to wait and see how it goes prior to his injury. There was a sling tackle by Chad Warner in the 3rd quarter, which if he wasn't a known player, he probably would be suspended, but it's Chad Warner, so I think he gets off. It's that dangerous tackle. Doesn't injure the player directly, but they head to the ground stuff. That's what they're trying to stamp out. 41,000 at the SCG. It was their 7th biggest crowd in history, so good little turnout. More so to honour Buddy Franklin, a few other players as well retiring. But they tried to get a decent game as well. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a scrap, and Melbourne just too good. Going to be interesting to see how they go against Collingwood week 1 of finals. Here's a fun fact as well. Melbourne have won 14 of the last 15 finals against Collingwood. So they do own them in finals, and I think it's the most recorded matchups in VFL AFL history for grand finals. Melbourne Collingwood, 7 grand finals. So it's week 1 of finals. They could meet again later in September, but I'm looking forward to it as a Collingwood fan, and just a decent match in general to reignite an old rivalry.
That's the one of the benefits of my team being out is I don't have to worry about shit.
Now, you posted in the group. Someone posted on Reddit teams they prefer to win a flag. Do you want to reveal yours? There's 9 teams left. Giants are up by 11 points over the Blues, but we'll include the Dogs here. Give you a little list. Who do you prefer to win? Who do you not prefer to win?
This is who I most want to win a flag out of the teams left. So at number 1, I have Brisbane because my boy Lockie Neal. 2, Port Adelaide because Port Gang. Tied at 3rd position is Carlton and Collingwood because I couldn't pick either over the other because then one of these boys would be salty. Then I picked 4, Sydney. 5, D's. 6, the Dogs. And then for 7th, I've got 8, the Saints. And then at 8,000, I've got Orange Team.
Oh, God.
Beautiful. All right, Mitch McGovern. It's not you. No, it's Jeremy. Jeremy, seriously, how the fuck do you nearly let a racist win the fucking Coleman medal? Absolutely disgraceful, if you ask me. So, you know, Jeremy McGovern, fucking arrowed the fuck out of him.
Let's go break some hearts!
It's a boy from Collingwood. 3 club player, born November 20, 1996. I'm doing a Maso here. Defender, taken pick 84 in the 2014 National Draft out of South Fremantle. Picked up by Port Adelaide, played a few games there. Traded to Adelaide, played a few games there. Ended up at Collingwood this season. Billy Frampton.
Yes.
Now, I'm only including him because John's away and he's a key defender. I've looked up and down the Boys Club Award and the nominees for that. Not a lot of key defenders, so I thought Billy Frampton goes in. He's probably going to be dead last in the Boys Club Award, but who cares? Billy Frampton, welcome to the Boys Club.
You remember this, pal? You're a boy in a man's world.
Alrighty. After a rushed effort to find somebody, I went back to my favoritism best and picked this fella. Forgot about him, sadly, as a lot of you might have. This fella was born on the 6th of September, 1996. He was drafted with the 34th selection in the 2016 rookie draft. From the Nightcliff Football Club in the Northern Territory Football League. This is Ryan Nyhouse, who debuted as a defender until he was put in... Actually, in a surprising move, he was brought in for Monday and played as a forward, and having never played as a forward before, kicked 5 goals against North Melbourne.
I'm having a look now. I remember that game. Late replacements. First kick, first goal. No, he kicked 4 goals.
Oh, okay. It wasn't a bag. Never been a forward before, and then we thought, all right, here we go. Magical forward replacement. Never got a good game out of him as much as that. And then he kind of just faded away. And that is why you are in the Hall of Fame, my good sir. Welcome, Ryan Nyhouse.
17 games, only 5 goals, but again, 4 in that game against North Melbourne. What a boy.
What a boy.
I'm going to keep this short because KO have put a little restricted access on AEW for me. So I'm going to play a lot of catch-up now because of that.
Which is still going to be...
Yeah, I can't watch AEW on KO anymore. So I'm going to find other ways to fucking watch it.
Oh, you got to jump on the Fight app as well. We can both stinge off of John.
All right, good old socialism in play, John. Give us your fucking Vite TV thing. But AEW All In, I'll preview his match. He's in a 6-man tag. He's teaming up with Bullet Gold, Jay White and Juice Robinson, formerly known as CJ Parker in NXT, taking on Golden Elite. That's Kenneth Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Adam Page. AEW All In, Wembley fucking Stadium too.
Oh boy.
Big crowd, big moment for our boy. Going to be middle of the card as well. Looking forward to see how that match goes. He may eat the pin, unfortunately, but just being on the card, good on him. What a boy.
I hope
What
he wears
a
the trench
fucking
coat
boy.
the whole time.
Do you reckon he'll come out to his Minotaur theme or his entrance? He may come out in an actual Minotaur as well.
Oh god.
Hey, it's England. Anything can happen.
I would
And
go
that's-
nuts.
That is Takeshita Watch.
The pre-finals bye is next week, yes?
Yeah, so we have the bye next week. Give us a chance to recharge a bit, but I think that's where our award show is going to be for the Boys Club and the Stephenson Warry Hall of Fame. Just a little 1-2 hour show, I reckon, where we just have a bit of fun, bit of waffling. And we've got a week to upload it as well. We've got to try and get it up before finals start. So looking forward to what we do. Episode 27, big one coming up for us. And then we'll preview the finals. Oh, not preview finals. We'll get into the finals. We'll touch on the teams who've missed finals. Bit of an exit interview for those. We'll go in depth on teams who have missed finals. And then we'll start talking about trade radio eventually. But a big month and a bit ahead for us. We'll clue John in as well. And if there's any updates, we'll let you guys know. But we are the AWO Journeymen. Thank you for listening in to episode 26. Our first season, home and away season concluded as we approach finals. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. We'll pick up the slack there on Instagram. We don't have any other platforms, I don't think.
Not yet, because I've been absolutely slack with putting together our TikTok. But next season, I promise. My fingers are crossed. No, they're not. I promise that I will actually get on it and pull my finger out.
No, it's all good. If you find us on TikTok, we've either done something wrong or we're going viral for the wrong reason. So we'll try our best on that front. Drink more water. Stay safe. Comb your hair. Do whatever you want. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
What a shit ending. Come back, John.